Your vapor degreaser needs to be NESHAP compliant if using NPB. In order to properly use NESHAP regulated vapor degreasing solvents like NPB and TCE, certain equipment features are needed to minimize solvent emissions. NESHAP stands for National Emission Standards for Hazardous Air Pollutants, NESHAP, and are standards set by the EPA for hazardous air pollutants. These emission standards are the legal requirements governing air pollutants that are released into the atmosphere. Emission standards set quantitative limits on the permissible amount of specific air pollutants that may be released from specific sources over specific time frames. In the past, many vapor degreasing companies used TCE, trichloroethylene, or 1,1,1, Trike, or TriChor, in their vapor degreasing operation. And these chlorinated solvents, along with PERC, Perchloroethylene, NPB, and Propyl Bromide, and methylene chloride, are regulated solvents under NESHAP as well. In order to properly use these vapor degreasing solvents, certain vapor degreasing equipment features are needed to minimize the emissions. Note, this information is not meant to be a comprehensive list of vapor degreasing features, nor is it meant to be a detailed discussion of NESHAP and solvent practices. The intent is to articulate some of the vapor degreasing equipment features that make a vapor degreaser NESHAP compliant. Note, your vapor degreasing equipment do not necessarily need all of the following features, and NESHAP compliance is not mandatory if you are using a solvent that is not NESHAP regulated like Aerotron AV. However, if using chlorinated or brominated solvents, your vapor degreaser will need to be NESHAP compliant. The most common NESHAP solvent containment features on a vapor degreasers are 1. A slide lid. Older vapor degreasers used to use a pull-off lid. The act of lifting and pulling off the lid from the top of the degreaser can cause solvent vapors to be pulled past the refrigeration coils and released into the open air. A slide lid allows the vapor degreaser to be opened without creating a vacuum that pulls the solvent out through the top. The Ultra systems have the option of manual or automated slide lid. Number 2, secondary refrigeration coil. Older vapor degreasers were created with a primary refrigeration coil for solvent containment. But to be NESHAP compliant, the vapor degreaser will need both a primary refrigeration system and a second set of refrigeration coils, usually known as a secondary refrigeration system. Other common terms for the secondary refrigeration coil/system are zero coil or sub-zero. The reason for the zero is that the secondary refrigeration system operates at below 0 degrees Fahrenheit, usually around -20 degrees Fahrenheit. The Ultra systems all have a sub-zero secondary refrigeration system, which is a continuous coil, which reduces possible leak joints, and is solid stainless steel. The Ultra secondary refrigeration system is standard on every unit and runs on standard R404A refrigerant. Also worth noting, the secondary refrigeration coil really goes a long way to reducing solvent emissions with new generation solvents that are replacing TCE and NPB. Number 3, primary refrigeration coil. The first generation of vapor degreasers, manufactured in the 1960s, did not even have primary refrigeration. The solvent vapor was allowed to boil directly into the atmosphere through the open-top vapor degreaser. Maya Angelou said, "When we know better, we do better. Now we know better. And so we are doing better." The primary refrigeration coil was added to contain the solvent vapor in the tank, thus reducing solvent emissions and saving significant cost in solvent loss reductions. The primary refrigeration system runs at 40 degrees Fahrenheit. The Ultra primary refrigeration system is standard on every unit and runs on standard R134A refrigerant. Number 4, 100% freeboard. The next feature that makes a vapor degreaser NESHAP compliant is it has a greater than 100% freeboard. What this greater than 100% freeboard means is that the distance between the very top of the vapor degreaser measured to the center coil of the primary refrigeration coil needs to be equal to or greater width of the tank. So if you have a vapor degreaser, that is 30 inches wide, the length from the middle of the primary refrigeration coil to the top of the tank needs to be 30 inches. What this means is as a vapor degreaser gets wider, the vapor degreaser needs to get taller to meet NESHAP standards. The ultra freeboard ratio is always greater than 100% and is usually closer to 120%. Number 5. Automated basket handling for automated part processing. One of the most effective ways to comply with NESHAP regulations is to install an automated basket handling system, aka automated hoist, automated lift, into your vapor degreaser. NESHAP stipulates a certain rate which the basket must move, both vertically and horizontally, to minimize solvent emissions. The requirement for part basket movement is 11 feet per minute. To be honest, this feels quite slow, but this slow movement reduces the solvent vapor agitation and thus reduces the possibility of the vapors being emitted out of the top of the vapor degreaser. NESHAP also stipulates the part basket needs to have adequate draining time prior to the removal from the degreaser to mitigate solvent dragout. This is so that the parts being cleaned do not hold the solvent and flash into the open air once removed from the unit. In essence, it is very difficult for a human operator to comply with the part basket handling requirements. Impatience is really the issue, as dwell times, solvent flash off times, reduced movement times through the various zones of the degreaser can make part processing tedious for a human operator. Ultra automated basket handling systems allow you to program the part processing recipe to meet NESHAP requirements while ensuring dwell time, solvent flash off, draining times, and ultrasonic immersion times are consistent each and every part basket processed. Conclusion: NESHAP compliant features are those that help contain the solvent in your vapor degreaser. If you are using a NESHAP regulated solvent like NPB or TCE, which are considered hazardous air pollutants or HAPs, your vapor degreaser must have features that mitigate solvent being emitted from the vapor degreaser. Features like a slide lid, primary and secondary refrigeration solvent containment systems, and automation ensure reductions in solvent dragout. Vapor degreasers do not necessarily need all of these features, and NESHAP compliance is not mandatory if you are using a solvent that is not NESHAP regulated like Aerotron AV. Give us a call or contact us to discuss your application and how Reliance comprehensive vapor degreasing system can support your parts cleaning operation. We can test clean parts in our lab and share our recommendations for optimized cleaning. At Reliance, we take a comprehensive, systematic approach to supporting our customers, to finding a solution to their cleaning needs. Reliance Technical Support Department can be reached at 847-640-8923. We are glad to be of assistance. Request a consultation using the link below.